Hello, this is for Dot and anyone else who has free time on their hands. I'm just now back from a Christmas in July Ultra. It was 6, 12, and 24 hour. Plus they put in a children's fun run at 5K on first day and 10K the second day. Up in Chicago at Lyle. I generally don't like going to big cities like that. But I was supposed to go last year, and I somehow thought that I would be walking by then, but after my wreck, but it just didn't, I really was, it was just no use going up there for the event. So so I ended up going. As many of you know, it got crazy hot. Even just sitting there, I got there like I think 1 or 2 in the afternoon on Friday because the race started at 10 p.m. and it was just really hot. Set up my sport umbrella, but there was normally a breeze. Went and got some food, came back, because at some points they block all the roads. And this is like a big park. The police department's over here, and there's a swimming pool, and there's the high school. We were right next to the high school. So it was a nice location. And unfortunately, it's blacktop, which North Coast at Cleveland is also blacktop. But I prefer trail, but that's just the way it is. And it was like a .97 loop or something, so you had to kind of figure out. They had a conversion chart for you. And if you live here in America or in the Midwest, it was hot. And I would check the heat index. I think at one point it was over 110. So race started at 10, and obviously the sun is down. It was still pretty warm. I think it was probably still 80 at that point, and I think it went down maybe in 70s. And it seemed like the whole evening that it was pretty far away, but there was lightning at all times. There was this lightning. It was far enough away, they say you shouldn't be out, obviously, even if you just hear thunder. But it was pretty far away. And so I got in some miles, and then in comes a storm. Some people, it's fine, I'm not making fun of them, but some people are gung-ho. We ultra people never stop. We're going to keep going no matter what happens. And to me, it was just foolish that people are out there. Seriously, I mean, at one point, lightning was literally right over our heads. And as I put on Facebook, they were hooping and hollering, having a great time, and I just didn't want to hoop and holler to my death. And I really wasn't that safe. I was under my sport umbrella, which I love that thing. It's great. I have the XL big one, and I was really partially under a tree, so I can't say that I was super smart, but some people went to their car. I didn't realize, but they did, and not surprised. When it died down, I went out, and then, of course, I was out quite a bit, whenever I could be, but it turned out, normally I would just go, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 loops or so, or 4, or maybe a little more, and then I would start to get overheated, and it got to the point where I really couldn't run. I don't handle heat very well, and so I would really, I think I was on the edge of heat exhaustion several times. Once the sun came up, whoa, when the sun was really out, it was just unbelievable out there. And I did go out there. Man, there were some people that are really good with heat. This one guy one guy got 100, and a young guy, he just clip. I mean, he wasn't doing 10-minute miles. I don't know what it was, but just nice and steady all the time. He was very amazing. And he got it. He finished within the last hour, I believe. So it got to the point whenever it was absolutely direct sun, I'd come out and I'd get on my sport umbrella. Someone suggested I put ice on my head, but I keep my hair short, and it's like it hurts, the ice. So what I do is I wear a buff and a visor, and what I would do is take my bottle, Camelback bottle with ice and water in it, and just squeeze it on my head and get that all wet without it. That way I didn't have it pouring down my back and risking chafing and all that, which I lubricate well. Runners know all about that. And that worked great for me. So that's what I did all the time. I would just squeeze water and fill up my buff. And of course I love buffs, so that worked out great. As soon as any cloud cover, boom, I'm right back out there. But even with the cloud cover, I really got cooking. At least my heart rate, I've had that happen before. My heart rate didn't go crazy. It's just that I got crazy hot. During that storm, during the night, the first night, actually, accidentally, I really didn't mean to, I fell asleep because the storm was going really good for an hour and a half, lightning, downpour, and then I fell asleep. So I missed out on 2.5 hours of the race there. I didn't really plan on that. But as I said, many people just left. I mean, literally left the place. And I found that out on yesterday as we were in the last 8 hours or so. I talked to people who actually in the afternoon, went to their hotel or home, took a shower, and sat in the air conditioning for a couple of hours. I thought, well, that's nice. I didn't really have that option. But, you know, considering all the conditions, I almost didn't I wanted 100K. You know, I always want 100K, but I quickly realized that probably wasn't going to happen if I wanted to not kill myself trying to get there. I was even wondering if I was going to get a 50K. But then finally I got up to the 50K, and but toward the end there, during the last 4, 5, 6 hours, really good cloud cover. So at that point, I think I did the last 10 miles basically without stopping. I mean, I'd go up and I had my own ice, and they had it too, but I would just stop at my place, which is along the route, and fill it up and get some of my snackies, but I mainly depended on their food. And so, you know, it did work out. I think there couldn't have been more than 15 or 20 people out there the last few hours. And on this race, if you don't finish the whole loop, it doesn't count. At North Coast, you have a marker, and they will even give you each little section. And so there was no one at the computer for a while there, so and they didn't get the screen up. So I had to, finally I asked someone, please find out where I am. So I found out I had 40 loops, so I was just under 40 miles. So it was like 39.8 or something. So I had to go do an entire loop, which is okay. So I ended up with 40.89. And I'm really very pleased with that. And really the hardest thing about this one was just going back out, because I knew what would happen. I would probably get overheated, but I knew if I would just eat like eat an elephant bite by bite, I could at least get up to a 50K and maybe more. 50 miles was really quite reachable until I think that last time I got really overheated. I just had to take a little extra time to get cooled off. It was nice seeing some people I know. A guy from Howl at the Moon, John Layton, I think that's how you say his last name. He was next to me, and I'm always very sarcastic with him. And he got in 50 miles, so he was very, very happy. So I got to know some new people. Would I go back to it? Probably not, just because I still like driving up to Chicago. Plus, it's July. What do you expect, you know? Hopefully Howl at the Moon will not be as hot, but there's a little bit of shade there, so I'm looking forward. That's my next event. And then after that, I've got my Race for the Ages over Labor Day weekend, leading up into Labor Day, so I get 63 hours. And then North Coast, St. Pat's, and then Tunnel Hill. And I'm still debating on whether it's going to be 50 or 100. So there we go. I did not get a hotel. I felt really wide awake, so on the way back, I drove for a couple of hours. I actually went Joliet. Nope, I feel good. Went to Champaign. I still feel pretty good. Started heading toward Indiana and pulled off at one point and took a little nap in a gas station that wasn't open, hoping the police wouldn't come by. I had a sign in my window saying I'm a runner, I'm tired, I'm just taking a nap. And then when I got across the border, the first rest stop there, I did stop and took a little bit of a nap, and had a big burly guy come up to my car, and I had the window down too far. He was asking me really kind of pushy about, you know, the typical, I need some gas money, and then he was, well, you sure you can't? I thought, oh, this guy better not. And so I said, no, you know, I'm traveling too, buddy. I'm putting gas in my car. And so he quickly walked away, so thankfully it wasn't any more than that. And did stop and eat breakfast at some point outside of Indianapolis. So I was getting pretty sleepy at the end there. So I came home, got around 7:30ish or so, and I just got up from like a 6-hour nap or something. So I never got really dehydrated. Runners know how we check, and so I did fine. So there we go. Too long, but there you go, Dot. Are you happy? See you at Howl at the Moon.